Hey guys, it's 16. I am coming all the way from the Philippines and I would rather be with you guys in Australia right now, but I'm not, and I'm sorry that I'm not, but I'm thankful to the corporate staff of Nu Skin Australia for allowing me to share my story anyway. I love technology because through video, I'm going to be able to tell my message anyway. And today I'm also going to be sharing a lot of leadership tips and practical tips on how I built my entire business on social media. So that's going to be exciting. But before I do any of that, I would like to share my background and how I started my Nu Skin journey. I actually began working on Nu Skin as a part-time business in 2010. I was 20 years old back then, a couple months to 21, but 20 years old, and I met my sponsor while I was working as an executive assistant for a chiropractic office. So that was my first and last job. So he kind of just waltzed in as a patient and I was the receptionist, and he just kind of in passing asked me if I knew anybody who wanted part-time income in this part-time project that he had, business project. And I remember just having the feeling of, by the time that I met him, of wanting to, you know, quit my job and start doing something else because I was ready to earn so much more. And so I started to get curious, like, how come he didn't ask me if I wanted some part-time income? Eventually, he did tell me that that was his strategy of indirectly recruiting me into the business. Is very sneaky, but that was his way of recruiting me in. And so the way I did my research on Robert and his business was actually through Facebook, and that's totally how I do my research about anybody nowadays, really. And so I looked at Facebook, I searched for him, and I looked at what he had put up on his Facebook wall, and it was a lot of products. And I thought, well, maybe this is what the business project is. And I was interested. I was just interested in making a lot more money, and the testimonials that I was seeing back then were really, really impressive. And so I just kind of sent him a message and I said, I remember you mentioned that you had a business project you wanted to propose to my friends. Well, I'm interested in earning. And I just remember it was a series of questions from him, and I just kind of said yes blindly to everything. I just followed him blindly, said yes to every single thing. Do you want a demonstration? Do you want to come meet me at the walk-in center? Do you want to learn how to make money out of this? And I was just like, well, I don't know what you want me to do, but yeah. And so when I look back at that moment, I just realized, that's when I realized that you really can't say anything wrong to the right person who's ready to earn. And at that point, I was just so ready to just earn big money. And you know, I was a kid, and the truth is I was in it for the money. Now I'm in it for a bigger purpose, but you know, that was the real goal for me. It doesn't always have to be a big goal. To me, the simple goal was the real goal. It was to quit my job, start making twice what I was making back then every month, and that was enough to get me to stay and work hard. And so I did it as a part-time business for 6 months, and I became an executive, and life was great, right? I was so excited, and I quit my job, and I hadn't worked ever since. So I've been unemployed now for almost 7 years, totally unemployable at this point. But I remember after 6 months of working on the business, and I thought, you know what, this is gonna be easy breezy. I'm just gonna make bigger checks month after month from now on. But I was wrong. Boy, was I wrong, because it was like an awful roller coaster for like years. So I think I maintained my executive position for 2 or 3 months because I wasn't a good leader then. I wasn't a better leader. I was like a boss to a lot of the people around me, to a lot of my leaders, and instead of leading by example, I told them what to do. And so I was kind of a boss. I was acting like their boss, and so that's not how you build leaders in this business. And so I maintained my position for 2 or 3 months, and I went through my grace period, went through my provisional executive period, and I lost everybody. I lost my team, and I was back to zero. And I remember feeling very devastated. I remember just saying, because I'm a very competitive person, and I'd like to think that I'm a smart girl who can figure things out, but I failed, and I couldn't wrap my head around failing at something. And so my mindset then wasn't, you know what, I quit. My mindset then was, I'm not gonna fail at this, because I'm not gonna start embarrassing myself, because I've made a decision to succeed at this, and I'm not gonna fail. And so I put in my next LOI, second time. This time I was determined to work even harder, to work twice as hard. And I remember it was team calling every day, presentations every single day. I think I did 3 to 4 presentations every day, but and you know, for a lot of you might be doing a lot more than that, but I live in a province and it was far from everything, so I was limited by geography and time and traffic. And so I did my best to do all of these presentations, but somehow I couldn't put my finger on it. It's just, it was either I wasn't using the right language, the right tone, or I was just talking to the wrong people, but somehow I just could not penetrate this market. I just couldn't figure it out. And so I went through my grace period, I went through my provisional executive period. I think I maintained my position for a month, and I rested because I was so depressed. And you know, I'm not a perfect distributor. It wasn't always, I wasn't born a leader either. So like, I lost everybody again. And I think the highest position I ever maintained on my second qualification was Lapis. And then I got demoted, and I just lost all my team again. And so at this point, I remember feeling very embarrassed. Like, Rob, if I requalified to executive, just don't tell anybody this story. Don't tell anybody this ever happened. I'm devastated. I'm so embarrassed. But I also remember feeling very angry. Not angry at the company, not angry for my leaders, for them, you know, not doing whatever work they needed to do to maintain their volumes. But I was angry at myself because I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong, and I lost everybody again. And so I was back to zero. But I just remember telling myself, I'm not going to go back to this position again. I'm never ever going back here again. The next LOI I put in, I promise I will succeed, and I promise I will never fail at this again. And so I think that happened. I put in my last LOI late 2014. I think that was it. And so I kind of took a slightly different approach, and I focused on feeding kids. I focused on Vitameal and Nourish the Children, and organizing all of these charitable activities in the Philippines. And I posted all of that on my Facebook. Social media was kind of like it was a sensitive issue. It's a sensitive topic in Southeast Asia. We're really, really strict with like over-claiming on the products. And I think it's the same in every market, but it's just very stricter rules in this region. And so I was limited to posting about my lifestyle and charitable work on my Facebook. And it's like fate, because, you know, that was also the time when Truman Hunt, our CEO then, was starting to look for people who were using social media as a platform to build their business or sell their products. And so early 2015, I received a letter from him, or I received a Facebook message from Truman, and he said, I appreciate whatever you do on your social media. I appreciate that you're being a force for good and letting everyone know through your Facebook. I really believe that you can be a social influencer in our company. And I didn't really know what that meant. I didn't know what a social influencer was, but okay, I appreciated it. And he says, I really think that you should expand into promoting products as well, because look at Hazel Calvert in the UK, and that's how I was introduced to Hazel. And he says she's just been in the business for a couple months, but she is killing it. And I was like, there is no other green light that can be brighter than this. The CEO is telling me, go at it on social media. And so I was very, very excited about it. I mean, first of all, the CEO writes me, and second of all, I'm being given the freedom to do something that's really different, and it's something that I'm very familiar with. And you know, it was like destiny was sending me all of these signs, because around the same time, an Australian leader, David Tran, I don't know if he's in the audience, and I hope that he is, because he hasn't heard this story from me before, but he visited the Philippines, and I was part of the small group of people that he met during his trip, and we were talking about social media, and he just said, you know what, just do it, because a lot of people are going to start doing it anyway, and if you produce results big enough that the companies can't ignore it anyway, then you're already there, you've already done it, so just do it. And that to me just flipped a switch in my head, and I was like, okay, because I have no team anymore. I mean, I'm alone. I maybe have one leader in my team, and this is the time when I should just approach this 100%. And so when I heard that from Truman, and I heard that from David Tran, David, you're my angel, I just said, okay, maybe it's time to do a 100% social media business model, because I've tried everything else. The last 4 years of my Nu Skin career, I've tried everything else. I have nothing to lose. And so I was all in, my heart, my soul, my mind. I was so excited. And so I sat down with my one and only leader in my team then, Zara, and we started talking about creating a branding for the both of us on social media. We were going to be a duo. And she said, you know what, why don't we just build a branding of girls who are us, who are like us. We don't have to overthink this. She said, we're fun, we like looking good and feeling great, and we're very ambitious with our goals, and we love social media. And why don't we just create a branding around that personality and incorporate Nu Skin and say, hey, you know what, this is the platform we're going to use. This is the platform we're going to use to get you there, to you know, make all our goals happen together. And so that little idea of ours turned into NuGirls. And the 6 months after that was the most painful, excruciating, physically excruciating moments of my life and of my Nu Skin career, because I remember just not eating or sleeping right, not because I was pressured to do well, but for the first time I felt like I found my center in this business, because I was working on something that I was very familiar with. It was very exciting to me, because social media, I love social media. If social media was a real planet, a real city, I would totally just live in it, buy a house, and pay taxes on social media, because I loved it so much. So it was really exciting. So for the first time I felt free. But the number one thing on my agenda then was to really unlearn everything that I've learned in the last 4 years and distance myself from everything else. And so the most difficult conversation that I've ever had to have was with my sponsor, Robert, and I told him, I had to have an honest talk with him, and I said, I know what direction you want to lead the team, but unfortunately that's not where I want to go now. I want to do this, I want to do social media, I have to figure it out on my own if I have to, but I can't join your trainings anymore, because my vision for this whole model is for it to be 100% social media based. And so I think one of the things that he did right was to let me go and let me figure it out, because I had this big vision that I can take someone from being a distributor to an executive and maintain a strong position with or without meeting me. I want my team to be able to say, I'm a strong executive maintaining 3,000 and up with my GSV, and I haven't even met my sponsor yet. I want them to be able to say that, because the Philippines is 7,100 islands, and we're literally lakes and oceans and seas apart. And if I'm going to take over this country and be a really big influencer in this market, I can't be in 7,000 islands all at the same time. And looking back at my 4-year journey, I was always limited by traffic and geography and time, and with social media I'm not gonna have those boundaries anymore. I have no geographical boundaries anymore and no time boundaries, because I can talk to someone in the US, I can talk to someone in Australia, and be able to train my entire team in the Philippines with ease of communication. And it was just a really, really exciting time. And so momentum started to kick in, and the future to me didn't seem so uncertain anymore. I was sure I was alone, but because I had no support, it was all experimental. I didn't know what I needed, because I was still trying to figure so many things out. And I was thinking for myself, like a real entrepreneur. For the first time, it was kind of overwhelming, but more exciting to me than anything, because I was thinking for myself and I was in such a familiar space. And I started recruiting. I started recruiting in January 2016, and it was humble beginnings. We were at 20 recruits, and then we were at 50 recruits, and then it was 100, and then before I knew it, it was 500 recruits, and then it was 1,000. And on our first year, we closed the year at 2,500 recruits, and we kept going. You know, we started to figure out what kind of products worked for us, and it was experimental for the most part. I didn't have much upline support. He was on board, you know, he was recognizing us, and he, you know, Robert was, I think he jumped in like 6 or 8 months into me working on social media. But I also didn't have corporate support because I didn't know what kind of support I needed from them, because as I said, it was all experimental at this point. So I didn't know what to ask for. If I needed training videos, I would make them myself. If I needed online catalogs, I would make them myself. If I needed any kind of system to be in place, I would create that myself. I was thinking like a true blue entrepreneur, trying to figure out what my team needs. Where do we go? What products? How do we market this? What tone, language do we do when we make our videos? All of that I had to figure out. And so if my story teaches you anything, I hope it teaches you to think for yourself, because that's really what it takes to make it in the digital age. We are in an age where there are 19-year-old CEOs, and you know, they have the audacity to say my startup is going to change the world, so why can't we be on the same boat? So I was in that mindset, and I'm still in that mindset. And I am saying, why can't I be on the same boat? Why can't I change the world with these ideas? And so I just started sending my message out there, figuring things out on a daily basis. My business was evolving weekly. It was change after change. It was figuring things out that were working, throwing them away, and being okay with saying, you know what, I worked hard on this system, it's not working, it's time to change it. It's being okay that things are changing and evolving with your business. That's what I had to be. And I turned into a leader that my team could look up to. And 2017, I got promoted to Blue Diamond. I was working on a daily system. I had bite-sized goals that I achieved every day, and I taught my team how to set goals for themselves as well. The recruiting was the name of the game. We were a young team, and we needed to bring people in. And 2017, we were averaging 2,500 to 3,000 recruits, and we closed the year at close to 30,000 distributors. And I remember looking back and having no one. Okay, I'm trying not to get emotional. I do hope that Jeff kind of edits this video, but if there's another thing that my story teaches you guys, I hope it teaches you that you don't know how close you are. If I had quit on my second LOI, I would not have built the NuGirls. If things aren't going the way you want it, it's not going as fast as you'd like it, you have to remember you don't know how close you are. I certainly didn't know how close I was to 30,000 distributors. I didn't know how close I was to Blue Diamond, and I didn't know how close I was to sharing my story to hundreds of people in Australia. And it's just, be great at the work and learn to think for yourself and learn to unlearn. And that was really the biggest lesson for me, is to excuse me, unlearn a lot of things in my business and find my center and build it the way I want. And I think it's very timely that Nu Skin is giving us a new mantra: your business, your life, your way, because that's always been the theme of my business. Even before that came out, it was letting people know that they can earn their way, letting people know that there is a better way to do this. You can shine your way and make money out of that. Make money out of your personality and sharing what your goals are, and letting people understand that, and letting people with the same kind of mindset gravitate towards you, and using a platform as powerful as social media to do that. it's not, to me, it's a lot of work. It was a lot of hard work trying to learn this platform, this evolving platform that changes almost every day. But to me, I wouldn't have it any other way, because that's what an entrepreneur does. An entrepreneur thinks for themselves and figures things out, because that's the reason why not everybody can be an entrepreneur, because these things are hard. But that's why we're here. We are willing to do things that are hard, that are uncomfortable, because we want the best life. And so I'm gonna wrap it up with, guys, nothing beats hard work. It's okay to have, to me, it's okay to have the big goals. I've always had those big goals, but be great at the daily work. Be great at those daily goals. Looking back, I never really remember a single day when I aimed for Blue Diamond. I never really aimed for it. If you follow me on social media, you would know this story. I posted it one time. I said Blue Diamond was never on the goal list for me. My goal was to be excellent at the work every single day, excellent at executing every single day. I had bite-sized goals that led me to the big goals, the monthly goals, the yearly goals. And so I knew that if I do my work right, and if I set an example to my team and I produce results that they can duplicate, then I know the incentive trips, the titles, the paycheck, all of those would come anyway if I do the work. Nothing beats hard work. Nothing beats thinking for yourself and thinking like a true entrepreneur, because that's how I made it. The truth is, it's not magic. There's no secret sauce to it. It's a lot of figuring things out, thinking for myself, having the courage to say, this is where I want to go, this is where I want to be, even if I figure it out on my own, even if I have no upline support, I'm going to make it. Believing in yourself and working hard. Nothing beats that. But hopefully the leadership tips that I share with you today get you closer to where you want to be in this business too. So here we go, the next part of the presentation, my best social media building tips. So when I look back 2 years into my business, I could say that there are really 3 major tips that helped me build my business effectively on social media. And it is listening to my audience, spear fishing, and putting up authentic content. So with the first one, listening to your audience, I think, contrary to what most people say, that selling is a lot of, knowing how to do sales talk, it's actually really listening to your audience, a lot of listening. So one of the things I do is I ask questions. I do that by either posting on my personal profile or on our fan page and just asking people questions like, when it comes to skincare, what can't you live without? What kind of product can't you live without? SPF, do you do night creams? Very specific questions like that. Like, if we're gonna launch a series of makeup items, what kind of makeup can't you live without, or what kind of makeup staples do you have in your makeup bag? And based on the answers, I know what to promote on my wall then. So ask a lot of questions. The second one, I engage, and I just don't engage with people who engage with me. I mean, really stalking my friends. And, for a lack of a better word, I say stalking because it's really every day I scroll through my news feed and I see what people are talking about. I look at what they're up to, what the latest trend is. There was a time when people just started doing yoga. Like, everyone was doing yoga, and then everyone was hiking mountains, and like, is this the thing now? Because sometimes you learn a lot just by looking at what people are into. So looking at your newsfeed, just engage with people and comment something nice on their photos. And if it's cute, say like, hey, that's really adorable. So I take a couple minutes in the morning and I go through my news feed and I engage with my friends that are outside my team, that are outside Nu Skin. So preferably these should be people who aren't in your Nu Skin network just yet. I would engage with them, comment something nice, and like their photos, like their posts, because you do better with engaging with these people, because then the more people you engage with, the more your posts are going to be served to their news feed. So if you study Facebook algorithms, you know, the closer you are with a person, meaning when Facebook reads that you've been messaging them a lot or you've been engaging with their posts a lot, Facebook is going to read that as, oh, they must be really close friends, so why don't we serve their posts to each other more often? And so what you want to do is just be a friend to your Facebook network and just start engaging with them and listen to them. Listen to what they're talking about. If they're complaining about their job, you know, you can engage with that, but also, you know, take that as a mental note and say, you know what, this person needs the business. Maybe I message them in a couple of days about the business. So that's one way. And then another way to listen to your audience is to experiment on content and see where they what appeals to them and what they really react to, what kind of reactions you get from your audience based on the content you posted. And for a whole year, this is what I did. I experimented on different products, you know, cheap products in the mid-range prices, and I looked at how my audience reacted to certain language, tone. Do I need to be funny? Did I need to be practical? And this might be a lot of work, but you really have to do this because your audience, everyone's audience is different. You know, what works for my audience may not work for your audience, for your Facebook network. So my audience reacts differently depending on what kind of language or tone I use on my posts. Long captions, short captions, what do they like better? Do they like this photo better? I also experiment on what kind of recruiting content I put up. Do they respond better to lifestyle posts or NuGirls shout outs? Do they respond better to my travel posts? So where do I get the most engagement? Where do I get the most questions? And which kind of post generates more curiosity and inspires my audience to private message me about what my product is, about what my business is? So experiment every single day, even if it's, you know, not something you would usually do. Experiment, because there's no other way to determine what your audience wants or how your audience is going to react unless you experiment on your content. Next, spear phishing. So you might have already heard me talk about spear phishing, and spear phishing is basically just private messaging people to offer your product or to offer the business opportunity. And there are actually 3 ways to spear phish. First is you private message everyone who engaged with your post. Second is to purposefully send a private message to prospect with a customized template. And third is to respond to your audience's interests and pain points. So let's look at this one by one. First way to spear phish is to private message everyone who engaged with your post. So you offer the products. If it was a product post that you put up, then you offer the product to people who simply liked your photo and to those who commented. So what most distributors usually do is just to send a private message to those who commented on their post and ignore the ones who liked the post. So sometimes a liker can like it because they need more material from you, or maybe they just like the photo. They're quite unsure whether or not to private message you, or sometimes they're just shy to say, hey, I need that product. So as a distributor, then your job is to cover all bases and spear phish every single person who engaged, whether they just liked your photo or they commented. And then you answer inquiries if there are any. If someone asked you how much in the comments, make sure that you answer them promptly while they're still excited about your post. So don't ignore the likers. That's the way you spear phish. Second way to spear phish is to purposefully send a private message to prospects with a customized template. So not everyone will be able to see whatever you post on your wall. Remember that Facebook only serves it to a limited number of people whenever you post. So what you want to do, again, is to cover all bases and make sure that you cover some ground and send private messages to everyone, letting them know that you have a really good product available, or that there's a new business opportunity that you just started and you want them to be a part of it. So One of the examples here I'm going to show you is, "Hi Anne, I am so excited to tell you about this new product I discovered. I've been using this peroxide-free whitening toothpaste and it's brightened my teeth in just a few uses. I'm putting in a big order for me and my friends. I wanted to ask if you wanted to include an order so you can try it too. You'll totally love it." So this is a sample script that I put up for you guys. It's offering the AP24 toothpaste. It's just a simple script, and what I usually ask a brand new distributor is to send this to his or her 20 friends, first 20 friends, and see what happens. So just to cover some ground, this is something that you must do if you're a big retailer on a daily basis. You should spearfish, or you could also spearfish to recruit. So the next script is actually a private message template for recruiting. So let me read it. "Hi Lisa, hope you're doing well. I came across your profile and I love how engaging you are. I work with a group of social media entrepreneurs and I think you'll be great at what we do. I am looking for brand ambassadors who are open to spreading the word about our best-selling products on social media. Just a quick way to earn on Facebook and Instagram. I have a 2-minute video that gives an overview. Is this something you're open to looking at?" So you can word it however you want. You can shorten this, you can put a little bit more detail, but the point is you customize it and you send it to as many people as you can. And whether it's to meet you up or invite them to an event or invite them to watch a video, you should cover a lot of ground by spearfishing them to actually do that one thing you want them to do and customize that template. It doesn't always have to sound the same way. You can always customize it based on who they are and how close you are with these people, because the closer you are to someone, the less you need to say because they already know you, right? So remember that you have to customize it with their name to make it more conversational. Actually, one thing I'm going to tell you is that majority of my activity is behind the scenes, and 80% of my efforts, of my daily efforts, is actually, it can't be seen because it's through spearfishing. It's done privately. So just so you know. Okay, so the third way to spearfish is to respond to your audience's interests and pain. So you offer the appropriate products depending on what you discover about your friends or based on their lifestyle complaints, whether it's traffic, not enough vacations. So you customize your message when you offer the business opportunity. I guess this also relates to listening to your audience. So it's not enough for you to know what their pain points are, then you also have to be proactive and actually respond to those needs. So if you find that they're complaining about certain things and there is a solution that you have that you can offer them, then you should definitely spearfish them and offer the appropriate product or offer the business opportunity if you think it's going to help them. So be very mindful about what your audience is talking about. Okay, so the next thing I have done on social media that allowed me to build very effectively is putting up authentic content. The first way I did that is I've always told a story. You know, as an entrepreneur, you have to be good at telling a story, whether it's a transformation story that would allow you to sell your product, or a story about your journey, just like what I did. I told you my business story, and you can chop that up into little pieces and tell, tidbits about your journey to your audience through live broadcasts or video. I actually sent a video to the corporate staff to show you about how I tell my story when I start promoting a product, and I'm gonna take a minute and pause here and allow them to play that video for you guys. Hey guys, I'm just going on right now to tell you that every time I use the Renew hair mask, not only does it revive my hair, it also revives my love for it, because what you see right now is my bed head. I literally just got up from my bed, brushed my teeth, and put some clothes on because I'm about to go out right now. I don't have any makeup on still because I'm just about to put my face on. But look at my hair, you guys. It is so shiny and soft. This wasn't even blow dried. This wasn't ironed or anything. Check out. No split ends. And look at how... What? No. Really? Like, look at how that bounces and how shiny it is and how
manageable it is. It just like falls and frames my face. Like, amazing. Seriously. I used it yesterday, so I wanted to see how it would look like the next day, and it, you know, ta-da! So they say that the effect lasts 7 days. So I'm gonna keep you guys posted, and I'm gonna keep taking pictures. I haven't even brushed this. Okay, let me brush this. I haven't even... What? Guys, there are no tangles. It is so smooth. I love it. Oh my god. Oh my god. If you haven't tried their new hair mask yet, you should.
So when you look at that video, it doesn't really seem like I'm selling anything. I'm just telling people that I love their new hair mask. It's done amazing things for my hair, and I had no makeup on, and it was just me telling a story that I love it, and I think you're gonna love it too. If you want your hands on it, then you should definitely send me a private message. So it wasn't forced, it wasn't overthought, it was just a story. So the more authentic you are on social media, the better your content is gonna do, because people can relate to it at a personal level. Okay, and the next, shift from selling content to building content. Okay, this is kind of a detailed item here. So when you're just starting in the business, then you have to be an expert at creating or generating retail profit. You have to be an expert at selling, basically. So naturally you would be taught how to post product posts effectively, and this is a lot of before and after photos, live broadcasts, Q&A, demonstrations on video, a lot of that content. But when you start to build your business, and then your focus will shift now from selling your product to getting business partners. So there should be a shift in the kind of content you put up on your Facebook. So personally, what I've done when I started building is I kind of decreased all of my product posts to 2 to 3 times a week, and then majority of my content is lifestyle, motivation, giving team shout outs, producing a lot of recruitment graphics, and telling people about the benefits that I've gotten from my business, because then my goals shifted from selling on my own to recruiting people. So you have to learn the difference. So there has to be a shift in the kind of content, because when you post products, then the goal is to sell. But when you post lifestyle, the goal is to recruit. So you have to be aware of whether or not you've done that shift. And all the time, the content has to be authentic. It has to have you all over it, okay? It's very, very easy to copy and paste something, but what really sets the ones who do great on social media apart from the ones who sound like robots is our ability to tell stories in an authentic way, okay? So I'm going to actually share a couple more tips with you, and this is kind of a summary of all of the things that I've learned in the last 2 years. So number 1, nothing is as powerful as your personal testimonial. I know you already know this. When you share other people's testimonials, other people's stories, it's good, but nothing really hits the heart of your audience quite like your personal story. So I've been a really personal witness to this. You know, I've shared lots of before and afters of different people, but once I shared my personal AP24 testimonial, that's when I got the most orders. That's when I got the most questions. So make it really personal. Like I said, all of your photos and all of your content has to have you written all over it, okay? That makes all the difference. Number 2, video content, as uncomfortable as it is to make them, is the best type of content for selling. I admit I am a better writer than I am a speaker. And if I could choose a medium or a platform where I could share all of my tips, it would be a blog, because I write better than I speak. So I would rather do that, but the truth is, to do well on social media, you really have to put yourself out there, because you need to be memorable. Remember that you have to stand out, and the name of the game is personal branding. You have to remember, personal branding doesn't have anything to do with the logo or how professional you look. It has everything to do with how people feel when they hear your name, when they hear you speak, and when they think of you. So if you're not memorable enough because they're not seeing your face enough, they don't remember who you are and what you stand for and what you're about, then, you know, they're gonna end up being the customer of some other distributor who knows how to make videos. So video content really is the best medium because it's the whole experience. People can see you, they can hear you, they can interact with you because now you have live broadcasts too. So I know it's very hard. A lot of you are camera shy, and this is actually something that I struggle with even within my team. But the first 1 or 2 videos are painful, but after that you're gonna find that it's quite addictive actually to create these videos, and you're gonna want to take a video of everything, of when you eat or when you go shopping, or you're gonna want to take a video of everything where you travel. So you should watch, if you can, after this presentation, search for one of my very first videos on Facebook. Search for 16 Ramos New Skin 180. It's such a painful video to watch because it was awkward, the video quality wasn't good, and I was so shy, and I was different back then. But I knew videos were the way to go, and so I put myself out there. I was very uncomfortable, but I knew that was what I needed to do. So I was thinking for myself, thinking like an entrepreneur. I know this is uncomfortable, but you gotta do it, okay? Number 3, be consistent with posting, but keep a balance. 80% of your Facebook wall should be personal posts, because people want to buy from people, and 20% can be about products and the business. So your Facebook wall still has to seem human, you guys. It doesn't always have to be businessy, because Facebook, the mindset of people there is they want to know what's up with you, you know? They want to know news about your life. So it still should be 80% personal posts. Actually, lifestyle posts can be like borderline personal posts too, because, you know, you're giving people a glimpse of what kind of life you have. So 80% personal, 20% products and business. Number 4, it takes a person an average of 5 to 7 exposures to product posts and testimonials before they decide to buy a product. Don't let the result of one post be the determining factor for your success. So a lot of people will do 1, 2, or 3 posts, and sometimes they won't get the engagement that they expected to have on these posts. You have to know, tip number 4 is it takes 5 to 7 exposures for someone to actually make up their mind about buying something or being a part of a team. So don't judge your overall progress based on a single post. Like I said, majority of my first year was about experimentation. It was about figuring out what kind of posts work. So if the first product post didn't work, then maybe post another post about the same product on a different time, on a different hour. Change the language a little bit. If that still didn't work, then try a different product. Change the language, be mindful of what time you posted it, and then post it on another time. It's experimenting every single time until you figure it out. And sometimes, you know, it's just people need a lot more exposure. So maybe they need you to talk about your product and talk about your personal experience. So one time post a photo, and then the next time post a video, and then the next time post another live broadcast video and answer questions. So it takes 5 to 7 exposures, just so you know. Number 5, posting about your product is only 1/3 of your job. The other 2 jobs are spearfishing and following up. Posting takes a few seconds. You can't post 10 to 12 posts a day. Whenever I tell people I work on my business 12 to 18 hours a day, it kind of gives them they kind of get puzzled about that, because how can you work 12 to 18 hours a day when all you do is post? Well, because posting is only 1/3 of my job, and you know, the other 2/3 is spearfishing, and then following up on the people I spearfished the day before. So majority of it is covering some ground and scaling my business privately. Okay, number 6, read your product information pages and catalogs and be an expert at finding solutions. If a person has a specific need, you can find different choices according to their budget. The foundation of our business is still customer creation, and so you have to be an effective salesperson. You have to be an expert, and people gravitate towards experts, towards people who know what they're talking about. So study your product information pages and catalogs. What I did, know them inside and out, and if a person has a specific need, then you'd be the expert to say, you know what, I have the best combination to take care of that, and this is what I recommend. So there you go. Be an expert salesman. Okay, number 7, keep a record of your customers' info and purchasing history. This will help you with follow-ups. I'm quite organized with my list. I have a master list of my customers and my prospects. For my customers, I know the last product they ordered, when they last ordered, their birthday, so that I can send them a little free gift. Comes along with their next package maybe. And it also helps me with following up when I know they're gonna be running out of their last order already. So just be organized. Number 8, manage customer expectation on delivery dates in case of unexpected delays. At least in my experience in this market, one of the number one sources of my stress is when customers are angry about late packages. So manage their expectations by telling them, giving an allowance on your delivery time. So if it's normally next day delivery, here in Metro Manila, I give an allowance of 2 to 3 days so that I can manage their expectations in case that, you know, there are some delays. So you can do that however you want. It really depends on what kind of arrangement you have with your courier service here in Australia. Number 9, online customers have the power of screen capture. Be courteous, kind, and patient when dealing with them. One screenshot can make you or break you. So it's very easy to lose patience when a customer keeps asking the same questions or they can't make up their minds, but always be patient and be courteous, because it only takes one screen capture on their phone and they can either say, you know what, this person is such an angel. She has been very easy to talk to. I know I've been asking her a lot of questions, but she's been very patient. I definitely recommend that you guys buy from her. Or they could say something else like, you know what, you guys, she has been really rude and she hasn't been very accommodating and not so warm to me. I don't really recommend this distributor. So one post, one screen capture of your conversation can make you or break you. So always be kind when you deal with customers, okay? Number 10, personal branding is important. This has nothing to do with a logo or a business page. Be pleasant, make people feel special, and always create original content. The name of the game is personal branding now, because a lot more distributors are going to start their social media businesses, and your problem is going to be, how do I stand out from the other distributors? And how you stand out is how well your audience can relate to you. So put yourself out there. It's uncomfortable in the beginning, but promise me you will eventually get comfortable with it. If people feel good when they see your content, when they see your face, when they hear what you're talking about, then you have your personal branding down. It is perfect. You don't even have to overthink it. You have to just stick to who you are, your interests, what your goals are, where you want to go in this business, who you are as a person. You know, someone out there will somehow relate to all of that, will relate to your message and your voice, and they will gravitate towards you. And you don't have to overthink it. Just make sure that you're sticking to who you are putting out original and authentic content, and you will find the right people to partner with in your business. So I hope these tips and these practical lessons help you get to where you want to be in this business. And remember that not only do you have Nu Skin in your support system and your support team, but you also have me. Whether or not I'm in your team, I'm here to help you out, because what I really want is for this company to succeed. So if there's anything else beyond this presentation that you need to know more about, I always answer my Facebook messages. I don't always answer quickly right away, but eventually I get to them. So feel free to send me a message and get in touch with me, and I hope you have a great leadership summit. I love you all. Bye.